2, 1, and you should be going.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Currents of War. Last time our group went to the town of Relicon, where they found, as promised by Pierre, an abandoned wizard tower. They went in, solved some riddles, saw some mice in tiny wizard outfits, and they might have released a demon, but he seemed pretty chill. So, it's good.
It's fine.
Tower
Plus,
fell
he was
down. It's
hot.
fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. He was hot. He was
Yeah.
specifically designed to be hot. Uh, by me. Yeah. So, we are now in the town of Relicon, with a whole bunch of shit from the Wizard's Tower. Some
Oh yeah,
of which we can pawn off to Pierre, and then after that, we're on our way to Melonbury.
Oh right, and I have a book that has an attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a copy of the Goetic Maleficarium, which, unlike the copy that was gained in No Small Feat, your copy has a face and is apparently has opinions.
Well, now we know why Bleak Annis only gave it an eyeball and not a mouth. Or at least Montblanc's book, because that wasn't the Goetic Maleficarium.
Yeah, the copy of the Goetic Maleficarium that you bought didn't have a face and the ability to speak. So it seems like this copy, not that your characters would know this, but this copy is perhaps a bit more authentic, or
Yeah,
just a bit more fucked up.
because didn't we find the one in the first game in Malice's stuff?
I believe so, yes.
And it didn't talk to us, so.
She wouldn't tolerate talk back. She was an evil stepmom, of course.
We'll just zip those lips up. There we go.
Oh no.
Fucked up.
It's like Billy Butcherson and Hocus Pocus.
Oh god.
Put a book.
So, we got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Do we need reminders of the stuff that we got?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see. Scrolling through. We had found roughly 1,000 Zenit worth of magic spell components like Belladonna, Nightshade, Wolfsbane, as well as some arcane flora like Peeping Poppies, Leech Lilies, and Biting Blossoms. We found the Goetic Maleficarium. Let's see. You found the Wick Shot, which is a fire crossbow, a fire longbow. The Cask Blade, which is a flail. That's also like a whip sword. The Skull Staff, which is a magic staff with necromancy powers. Yeah. And a functional crystal ball.
Also, in the loot box, we found Troll Smut. I wrote that down,
Yes.
but I don't recall.
You did, in
Yes.
fact, find a book of etchings of naked lady trolls.
Huh?
That's a thing you own now. Just some troll smut.
I mean, we're going to be dealing with fairy, stuff, so
There's
that might be good bribe.
There's a very good chance you might come into some trolls, in the future. So
Yeah, we might want to hold on to this one for it's like, hey, if you ignore us, we'll let you have this good stuff.
you never know when you're gonna need troll smut.
I think we brought it specifically to screw over Flavian's rival. Like, here, we found something in the Magic Tower just for you to sell.
That also sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Sounds like something we would do.
And
Oh.
who knows? Maybe the old lady from the orc village would like that troll smut.
Oh, God.
You know?
Maybe it'll awaken something in some of you. We'll find out.
No.
Cursed troll smut.
Of the
Troll smut
weapon.
curse. This is how we're opening the session.
It's been a while. We're
In a while,
gotta get it out of our system.
troll smut a bit just to get into the groove.
I was gonna ask, since Duck got the book, who wants the other weapons? If they see, like,
I wrote down, I think already, the crossbow. That doesn't necessarily mean that we like multiple people can't use the weapons per se. It just is like only one person could have it equipped at a time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because really the only other thing Duck might use is the staff, but she's already got the book.
I'm trying to figure out which one, if Art would take one. Because on one hand, I feel like the skull staff is very on theme and on the nose, and Art's just enough of a little bit of a shit to use it, but he's also not a magic user.
I was gonna say that it might be useful if you do eventually multi-class, some magic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever has a good Dex and Might combo, the cast blade might be good. Like, Monsieur or have a good Dex or Might.
Let me check.
Because the multi and ice would probably be useful.
Good.
Oh, Giannis Scotty. Cole
Anyway,
Giannis Scotty.
he has a D10 in both might and dex.
Oh,
Jesus.
that might be good for Monsieur then to use, Oh, for a dragon, would that turn into like a tail whip?
I mean, that'd be the
Hopefully.
badass way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. To the loot box. Sure, I'll take it. If Grungan doesn't mind.
No, go for it. I don't have a good dex. I have might and insight.
Okay.
Yeah, and my Might is my lowest, so.
Mine too.
I would think
Frowns
the
and
merchant
low
would be kind of frail.
Frowns and low HP.
Oh, the Helm of Vigilance that Duck got from Soul Stealing from what's his
Yeah.
name? Andromalus?
Andromalius.
Andromalius.
You can just
Um,
translate his name if that makes it easier for you, and just call him Bad
Bad
Man.
No.
He's
Then
just,
he sounds like
just-
a 90s comic book character.
he's just Vegeta's pink shirt.
Oh my god, you're right. Shit. But the helmet that looks very much like Duck's original helmet, but this time it has that she's trying to convince herself a duck's feather.
Mhm.
But it says +2 to defense. That's just normal defense, not magic defense, right?
Let me check. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. If we've divvied up the loot, Sold thanks Pierre Rancine, and he gives you your share of the money, and is quite happy with you all. It is 3 days travel by cart to Melonbury.
Did we already figure out how much money we got from Pierre? Or wait, he said it wouldn't be until we got to the town, right?
Oh no, I gave it to you. It's 1,000 zenith.
Okay. I think we did that last time then.
Also, Duck, before you left the town, is there like a post, like a mail service?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
there probably isn't here in Melonbury, since it's a larger town. You probably would be able to find like a courier who'd be willing to ferry a package for you
Okay.
or a letter. Because this is a pre-postal service world.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
And a lot of people just didn't have much need of that. You know, if you needed to get a message to somebody, you sent a messenger.
Yeah, you'd hire a courier or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess as we're traveling, just Duck, at some point, someone should really institutionalize a service where people can just transport, letters and stuff between towns.
Just sounded like a witch.
How much would we charge for that there, Duck?
I guess it would depend on the weight of the package, because it's got to be, if it's going to be large amounts traveling by cart or horse or, just someone carrying it on a backpack, you got to compensate for that.
Ah, but then you bring up the distance, and we gotta figure out how that plays into the whole thing,
That suddenly feels like a little bit of like, may have made a mistake.
A new business venture has been proposed.
I
Not a
would love
Pony
to do.
Express, it's a Duck Express.
And if you're rude to the postman, they should be legally allowed to kill you.
I like that part.
Speaking of, if we would like to have an interlude scene, because I don't think we've actually had one for a while, we can have one at the Slidao Inn.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And it'll cost, I think, for this size town, 5 zenith? No, 10 zenith to restore all HP, MP, IP while staying at the inn. What you might want to do, because resting on the road is not quite as effective, even with beds.
Done.
Okay,
Works for me.
I'll take that.
Maxed out. Just to make sure, we are level 10, right? I don't think we leveled up last time.
I don't believe we
Yeah.
did.
Because we ended, at least on my sheet, with 7 experience.
That's how much
Yeah.
I have to.
Because we started at 0.
We will level up this time, though, no matter what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have leveled up, but we're going to level up again.
We're
Alright.
at level 10.
Yeah, we'll be at level 11 by the end of the night.
Okay. Cool.
We're
cool.
All right,
not there
interlude
yet.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can forge a new bond, change an existing bond, or strengthen an existing bond. I'm going to allow you to do lateral moves, which is to say, like, if you want to switch one bond from one trait to its opposing number or something, that's fine. You can do that for free. But if you are adding to a bond or creating a new bond, you can only do one of those. And feel free to role play and discuss where things are going and all of that as well. It's a little bit of you time.
Treat yourself.
Mhm.
Let's see. I'm going to add
Mm.
loyalty to Moncher because he's been incredibly, good at anything that we've done. He's just really. I'm trying to think of the way to phrase this because my brain has been fried for 2 days.
He's got the dragon's competence.
Yeah,
Dependable.
dependable. Thank you, Christ.
Mm-hmm.
My brain hasn't worked right for 2 days.
Hashtag blame Windows.
I will. But yeah, I'm gonna add.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
gonna add
kill
loyalty.
that bastard Bill Gates.
I think, reflecting on the whole situation with Andromalius, Flavian's going to add a little bit of mistrust for Art for being a little bit crazy with his plan back there.
Okay.
Trying to release a demon. Nuts! You're nuts!
Which is gonna make mine funny because I'm adding a bond of loyalty Art because Duck's she already had admiration, but now Art is fully like committing himself to like just the chaos in Duck's eyes, and it's just like I can get behind what you were selling. Okay, I like this.
I like you cut G.
Let's free some more demons. Really fuck shit up. See what happens.
Plus the whole dedication to violently ending the Goblin War.
Yes.
Duck can respect that.
I'm going to go with a bond for Duck for affection. Well, I already have affection. Shoot, admiration, because you're a clever little guy. You're a clever little one, and I appreciate that about you. Do I trust you? I'm not sure yet. You have a bit of sticky fingers.
Yeah, that's right.
That's completely fair.
Mm-hmm.
Could have ended up demon paste. Or the demon could have turned us into paste. That's what I mean.
But we didn't.
Could have covered us in sweet, sweet demon paste.
I don't like that. I didn't like that the second you started saying it.
Moving on.
Time to kink shame the DM.
We do that every
Totally.
session.
A regular session, yeah.
Want to share any bonds?
No, the way I'm playing Moncher right now is he's sort of like locked in to playing Kingdom Hearts turns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Once the big meetup with Sir Jarston the second happens, that's when the bonds start forming, and they don't stop forming.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah, I'm trying to experiment with how I play.
Alrighty.
Well, maybe keep a tally of how many points you've earned to put into bonds. Just so you're not totally fucked once we get further down the line.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
How many heirlooms have we had so far?
That's a good question.
Um,
I try to do one per session, but I think a couple get away from us.
So, I want to say you let us all add a bond with each other at the very beginning.
I
That
generally
sounds
do, yeah. Yeah, that sounds correct to me.
So then I think we've had 3 interludes after that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Maybe 4. Wait, no, I would have come with the Ross one built in. Never mind.
Yeah, you got that from your wonderful work.
Rivalry.
Yeah, forget about it.
right, I have jotted it down.
Nice.
All right, how delightful.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, if we're good with this interlude, then it's time to travel.
It's time to eat some slime.
All right, so, I would like somebody to roll a d12.
Will this have anything to do with? Oh wait, we're not going through the Bell Dormont yet. Because we got that guidebook, I was just wondering if that would help.
We're technically going in the opposite direction, so unfortunately, no.
Oh yeah, what did we agree with that side quest to report if we found anything new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do some scouting of your own. Okay. Neato beans. Well,
When we get to Melonbreed, we could just do like that. Oh no, I'm sorry.
You encounter 5 wolves on the road. Massive arcane wolves, in fact. Roll for initiative.
Well, since we've seen these guys.
Where is my initiative? I found my initiative.
Art.
Do 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 do.
Did Gray step away?
Grey boy.
The wolves got him.
While we wait for Gray to respond, I'm gonna get some water real quick.
Sorry, TJ woke up. Boom.
What happens?
Initiative, I'm assuming?
He's
Yep.
I got a 5.
Well, luckily, Flavian won the initiative roll for you guys. By 1 point!
And I can do this.
Damn.
Just gonna keep it simple. And
Okay, back.
Welcome
use
back.
the wick shot on that one as part of the
Nice.
high speed.
Very nice. A very palpable hit. Alright, and that's like a turn before the turns actually start, correct?
Yep.
Alright. Well, one of you gets to go first.
Who wants to go?
I can go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Get it?
Okay. Muncher is going to fly over, going for this one and the one Flavian just hit. And he's gonna lap him with his tail. Oh.
Damn.
Mhm.
That hits. And yep, that does a good chunk of damage. That wolf is in crisis.
Oh, don't do that.
Are both of them in? Are both in crisis?
Oh, you did a different one? Okay, but no, but I'm sorry. I thought we were
No,
focusing
no,
on
it
one
was
guy.
multi.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, well, the one that was hit twice is in crisis. The other one is fine. Okay. But the crisis one is going to try to get a good hit in. And it doesn't. So there we are.
What was it attacking?
It was going to attack Moncher, who can fly, so that's also funny.
Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, you have the beast axe.
I'm also going to use 10 mind points to do Blade Storm. So I'm also going to hit the two in front at the same time. Oop. And that's an extra 5 damage if it hits.
Yeah, that hits. All right, you've done some significant damage. This wolf also realizes shit is going bad, but it's a wolf and it's gotta do right by its peers. The 17 hits you, Grugan.
17. It matches my defense, so yeah.
Nice. You take 17 physical damage
Okay.
as it bites you.
Alright. I'm never gonna get that fucking counterattack.
Someday. So
Well,
never
I
say
have to
never.
roll.
It has
Hold
to
out
roll
hope.
evens.
They rolled. Well, I mean, do both dice have to be even, or does the result have to be even?
I think the result has to be even.
Well, then
Yeah.
that was because 5 plus 7 is 12.
Okay, then I'm gonna fucking counterattack it. Whichever one hit me is getting a smack back.
Ooh.
Okay.
Doubles.
Ooh.
All right. Well, 2 of them are out of the game.
Don't fucking bite me.
Don't bite me.
Don't get any cheese.
Things you can also say to your cat.
I have.
And they also won't listen.
Yes.
I think it's just me, Flavian, and Art still.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone have anything special they want to do? I'm just going to stab it with a knife.
Yeah, I just plan on shooting with an arrow again.
I mean, I could do my thing.
Do you?
You can always do your thing.
I'm gonna do my thing. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to do a slightly different thing.
Gasp.
I like to think as he Art's gonna do a hand gesture and there's a faint sound of a bell. Or all sorts. So we're gonna activate with Bishop's Edict. All sources of damage deal SL times 3 damage, extra damage. So everybody
What
gets
level is the
buff.
skill?
1. So it's 3.
Nice.
Chosen effect lasts until the start of your next turn. So everybody gets to buff, and because I did the Bishop's Edict, Crushing Chariot goes in, so Duck or Flavian, go now.
Flavin, you want to go? Or
Sure. Take a shot. A wick shot. That.
That hits.
23 damage now.
Hachima. It's a palpable hit. Now, Wolfie did not like that at all. Going for you, Flavian, but that should we'll just take that 7. All right. Does 15 hit you, Flavian?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're gonna take 17 damage as this wolf bites you pretty good.
Get off me, you mangy mutt!
I'm gonna go try and stab it. Or wait. Oh, it shouldn't have been able to attack. Oh, wait, no.
No.
Right. Never mind, it did. No, sorry, I misunderstood the crushing chariot. Ignore me, it's not my class. So I'm just gonna.
Ignore me.
Is there
Yep,
defense
that hits.
10 or higher?
No, it is not 10 or higher.
Okay, so it's only the 13 damage then. Plus 3?
Yep. And this is on the
16
wounded
damage?
doggo?
Yeah, the one that went after Flavian, I think, was the wounded one.
Yep, alright. This one is in crisis. One decides to go after good old Arthur because he smells delicious.
A 15 hits.
And it's a 20 actually. Alright, you take 18 damage.
Ow.
Yeah.
Top of the turn order now, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that's actually there's one more Bargus to go, and it's gonna go after Duck because I don't think one of them's gone after you yet. Does 14 hit you, Duck?
Yeah, that's my new defense, so it still hits.
18 damage.
Ow.
Yeah.
18?
Yep. They play rough.
Ah.
Not quite in crisis, but close.
Yep.
Y'all cool if I go?
New round.
All right.
Don't
Also,
forget
what
your
was-
3 extra damage.
Okay. All right. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna hit these back too.
All right.
And accuracy
Damn.
Shit. Damn.
+3.
They- +3. Hachima. That's a good hit. The wolves growl as they realize they can't get you while you fly, you little bitch. And one goes after Art because he still smells tasty. Does 16 hit you, Art?
Does a 16 hit me? Yes.
19 damage.
Jesus. Okay, I'm in crisis.
Yeah.
They're some bad dogs.
Bad dogs.
Big bad wolves.
It did say there was a wolf problem.
If any,
Well, there's
think
always
so.
a wolf problem.
nobody minds, I'll go.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Which are the two that are most fucked up?
Honestly, this one right here is the most hurt, but these two are like 2 HP away from crisis each.
So I'm gonna multi again. I'm gonna hit this one and this one. And then +3, +5.
Alright. Well, congrats, gang. The 5 wolves get the shit kicked out of them and immediately scamper off, deciding not to fuck with you no more.
Good.
You have defeated a pack of Barghest. Yay! You're very tired.
Ow.
Yeah.
If you guys have a sleeping bag in your inventory, you may take a rest and recover MP and HP, but not IP.
Okay.
Oh, I could use Magic Tent. Allows the entire group to rest in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. That's what I meant. Tent, sleeping bag. You know what I mean. It's the thing that you buy at the down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like a good
Excellent.
plan.
So we all got the effects from the magic tent.
Wait, we have our wagon with our Yales.
Yep. You still have to get the item that lets you like biovac though. That's a mechanic in the game.
Right.
The wagon lets you fast travel to places you've been.
Yeah, no, I just forgot we had purchased that until I was scrolling into my inventory and saw I have 10 Bork bites for the Yales.
That's right. All right.
Oh my god, we could have used this for the Barghest. Players can toss out here. I'll just
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oops.
It all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got healed now.
All right, excellent. Roll another d12.
not me. I already did.
Okay, I'll roll a d12. I got no problems. It always historically ends well.
One more than I did.
Yay.
Plus side, this would have been a wolf encounter, but you scare the Barghest off. So the day goes uneventfully.
Hey.
You can rest, recuperate, spend a tent, and then roll one more d12 for me.
I'll do it this time. It'll be fun.
We recover HP when we use the tent, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. As you are wandering along the road, you come across some dead sheep. All of them seem to have had their throats slit. The lacerations along their throats are very deep and very clean compared to those of like a wolf bite. They're not super ragged. With some of them nearly having had their heads like just fully cut off.
These look like butcher marks.
It's really hard to say. You can do a double insight if you would like, but the DC is going to be 14.
Double insight.
I got doubles.
I could give it a try. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Maybe my wife was really into weird butchery on top of other things.
You and your fucking wife. Okay.
It's gonna turn
Look.
into Columbo. Columbo's wife.
You know, my wife, she's always expecting sheeps that have had their throats slit.
My wife. Let me do the Earth's voice, not Columbo's voice. You know, my wife used to like getting into the butchery side of things. Never knew why, but there was a time where she was just absolutely obsessed with the processing and using of animals. And I was like, honey, I'm a carpenter, not a butcher. But she was very curious and dedicated, and, well, the meat was always fantastic. Can't tell you shit about this, though.
Okay, this kind of makes sense to me given your background, Grugan. As you inspect them, you realize that despite the cleanness of the wound, these could not have been done with a knife, at least not one wielded by like a human or humanoid figure. In fact, and again, this is something specific to your history, given the kind of creatures that you've affiliated with in the past. This looks almost like the bite of a shark. Dry land.
Okay. Looks like a shark bite.
Everyone else, make an insight check to know what a shark is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It'll be an insight of 10. And I'm serious, you have to. We're in the Middle Ages. You don't necessarily know that.
That's fair.
That makes sense.
Duck did live in Lutetia, which connects to the ocean, so she might have heard about him.
What, Share, you think a shark is potentially some sort of fish?
Mm-hmm.
That's about as far as you get. Everyone else, you are aware of sharks. They're large flesh-eating fish in the water. Not nearly as dramatic as the sea boars and leviathans and other monsters of the sea, but they're pesky problems the same way wolves are. Not as dramatic as having a dragon, but it's a thing you got to avoid if you're out there on the sea. Or so none of you have probably ever seen a shark. This is not like you go palling around with sea monsters, but you're vaguely aware of them.
I'm really trying not to immediately go into another wife pit, but like...
Weird though. It shouldn't be on land.
You hear bleeding from the woods. And a young lamb bursts out from the underbrush and runs across your path, just freaking right the fuck out.
Well, I'm gonna hazard a guess where the thing is.
And as the lamb, runs and it sees you all and it bleats at you before running away. And as it tries to run away, something enormous pounces out from the underbrush and lands on the lamb. It's a creature that, as it moves quickly, you think it might be some sort of leopard or cathaneg, some sort of large cat.
Oh, shit.
The lamb's bleedings are cut off suddenly as it wraps its jaws around the lamb's head, and there is just like a swishy little slice noise. And as the lamb goes limp, the creature raises its head, turns to look at you with the slit-pupiled eyes of a viper, and curls back its vaguely feline, vaguely canine, vaguely mammalian, yet oddly round and boxy, lizardy-shaped head, to pull back its mammalian lips in a sharp, triangular-toothed smile. And as it cocks its head and tilts its little feline ears, it looks at you all and goes, "You hunting this one?"
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No? All right. And then it grabs the lamb and ducks into the forest.
Duck is behind Grugan.
I noticed that. I started laughing. And I went, God damn it, Duck.
What was that?
Something that was hungry and had a mouth bigger than I was, so...
Don't
A successful hunter.
actually know what that was. The teeth marks make sense now, though.
Can we get to town now?
Yes, you can. You're on your way to Melonbury. Feel free to role play out that experience.
I've heard of things that can speak to you that kind of look like cats, but I've never seen anything like that.
Have any of us heard of manticores before? But
Yeah, manticores. I would say DC 10 check. Because they are common enough at this point in Midgheim's history where they're at least as well known as lions.
Would I get any
Duck and
bonus
Eric
to
don't
this?
know shit.
Jesus Christ.
Duck's
we
a
know-
country bumpkin.
Duck comes from
Gr-
fairyland and spend a lot of time around towns.
Grugan, you not only know manicores, but you know them well enough to know that thing fucking was not a manicore.
So there's these things called manicores. They kind of look like cats, but they also have like people faces,
Horrible.
and they talk to you and sing to you, and it's a thing that they do. But that was not a manicore.
Kind of wizards to blame.
I wouldn't be surprised, but also I don't like that.
Well, don't worry about it. It's probably not going to be relevant in the future.
I'm sure.
Definitely not.
It's not like I
All right.
inked all your fucking icons or anything.
You all make it to the fantabulous town of Melonbury. This is one of the many port cities on the Guivere River. Melonbury has a marquis, one of the nobility living inside of it, and the marquis's estate is surrounded by these very beautiful gilded walls. And the people of Melonbury live outside them.
Classic.
It has an artisans guild, a marketplace, the Riverside Inn, and a bunch of interesting places behind those walls if you get through them.
You don't suppose the lady of the one town's probably in there knowing our luck?
Probably.
Oh yeah.
You are all looking for Dame Sangren, to sort of tell her the goings on in Champagan. The blacksmith of Champagan, Catin de Troyes, also asked if you could potentially find his sons, who are soldiers in Dame Sangren's service, and get them a letter if it tells them he loves them and cares about them, like a good dad.
Oh, don't forget we have our nobles glamours.
Mm-hmm.
That might help us get access if we need it.
It wouldn't hurt.
It would not hurt, but
You
I don't
go
know.
check in with Pierre at the market first.
let's go say
Yeah.
hi to our best friend Pierre, he says, locking eye contact with Flavian.
To make sure
Well,
he also, didn't get shark bit.
Oddly enough, Pierre was still in Relicon. He didn't follow you here. He'll probably show up later down the line. As you go to the market, though, many of the things being hawked are fairly mundane. But you do see a few Frankish soldiers. Some of them, so they're all wearing like the blue colors of Francain and Amorigal. But a good number of them seem to have different heraldry than the other on their patches. With some being far more elaborate than the others, which basic knowledge of how shit works in this society, that would mean that some of these soldiers are working for different aristocrats and members of the nobility than the others. Some of them are bannermen for, say, a knight of so-and-so or a baron of such and such.
Do any of them look like our blacksmith friend? Like, even at a passing glance?
Funny that you mention it. You do eventually spot two young men, uh, each like charitably like 18 years of age, um, who do bear a resemblance to Cretin de Troyes, and also notably have armor that, while made out of very common iron, is of unusually good make, as if done by a master smith.
Okay, he's gonna go up to them and ask, as he's approaching, he's like, "Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be, what was his name? That's a French name that I'm not even going to try.
Cretin de Troyes.
Cretin de Troyes, is that your father?"
They both immediately light up. Oh shit! I mean, yes, we are the sons of Cretin de Troyes.
He asked us to give you some letters, and he's gonna hand them to them.
Oh, and they both immediately like look overjoyed and start pouring with the levers, and then they both like in unison, like oddly in sync, like touch their hearts and go, oh, while thinking about their dad.
Oh my god.
And then they tuck the letters into little pockets on the inside of their tabards. Before one looks at you and claps an arm on your shoulder and says, "Thank you, my good man. Where did you get these letters?"
We were passing through, and we did a favor for him, and he asked us if we were going this way to bring some letters. It didn't seem like a hardship, so...
And
That's just like father. Just like father.
I was actually wondering if you might be able to assist us. We also have word to bring to Dame Sangren if you would happen to know where she's at.
They both share a look, and then one of them lifts up a finger to you, and they briefly huddle with each other. Do we have permission to bring people to the big castle? I mean, we're soldiers. We are garrisoned there. It's it's not like we're taking them to rob stuff. It is true.
Duck tries not to look excited at that.
They got a message for Dame Sangren. Like, that's important, right? Yeah, that's super important, and that's why we're here to do like important work for the night, the hot night that we work for. So, like, yeah, we should do that. All right,
Nice.
we will take you to the castle.
Oh, excellent.
Much obliged.
So she's hot, huh?
both immediately blush.
And Duck just has this big grin. She's like, "I'm just giving you a shit. It's fine. Your secret's safe."
Art's just gonna give a friendly nod. It's like, from a retired soldier to another. Don't worry, it happens all the time.
And the soldier's like, how urgent is the message? We had some shopping yet to do, but we can curtail it. If this is of urgency.
I think you can finish your shopping.
We just got to town ourselves, so
Yes.
All right. Well, we can
Sorry.
meet at the gates of the Marquis Fortress, and we'll let you in. That's what we'll do.
We'll go get cleaned up and a little more presentable.
Oh shit! Should we do that too? So, I mean, we're wearing our uniforms, so we're pretty. Well, okay. And then they both rush off. And so,
Duck's just like, "Sorry, I couldn't help it."
there's an artisans guild, and you can reserve a place at the Riverside Inn for the night. And other than that, you can meet up with these two these two teenagers and get yourself inside that fortress.
Well, the guild is right there, and then we can go to the inn.
Yeah, see what the guild has.
So the Artisans Guild has a lot of very nice, handcrafted trinkets and doodads. But one thing in particular does strike you: there is a place that is selling enchanted jewelry.
Mm.
And I'm gonna just post this in the loot box with prices.
Ooh. Prices.
Oh, you mean suggested prices?
They're all suggested prices to Duck.
There is the Ring of the Pupil, the Ring of Onions, the Ring of the Lion, the Ring of the Owl, the Ring of Embers, and the Ring of Frost.
I see what you
If
mean
you
with
wear
the
both the ring of, yeah, if you wear the ring of Embers and Frost at the same time, is it just they cancel each other out?
I think so, yeah.
So if I'm reading it right, it would probably just turn them both to resistances, mechanically speaking.
Yeah, that would make sense too.
Quick, Duck, steal!
We just got into town.
The problem is she would. Funny thing is, she would like the ring of the lion, but I think the ring of the owl would be good for Grugan.
Kind of like the Ring of Onions.
The Ring of Onions is really good for an endgame build.
Same with the
You
ring
have
of
a
the
lot of classes.
Shoot, these are really good, and I'm kind of look to the others like this is more of a heist kind of thing. I'm not going to be able to go for anything while the store's open. We just got to town. That's just poor thievery.
You can always come
Yeah.
back at night.
Yeah, or when we have more funds.
Also, that I have been giving my money away, so I don't have enough for one of those.
Oh, do you
Oh,
guys
look at that.
do you guys need me to spot you? Hold on, I got a lot of money. What you want?
I mean, Duck could afford at least one of these, but
Grugan,
Maybe.
which one you want?
I mean, the only one that I think would do anything for me is the insight.
Okay. So I need one of these rings of the owl, please. I don't know if you planned an artisan shopkeep or not, but
Oh,
Yes, I am the keeper of the rings.
oh boy,
I'll need currently one ring of the owl, please.
Here you go. That'll be 1,500 credits.
And you just watch as Art reaches into a pocket, holds a big bag, pulls out a chunk of coin, and just puts the 1,500 down. There you go.
it reaches out long fingers and scoops them into like a little pocket on its chest.
God.
I'm just gonna let you guys imagine what kind of character goes with that voice, and just really let it
Yeah.
run wild.
I am.
it's a real
Mhm.
Garfield the Deals Warlock kind of image.
I might someday draw what's going on in my head with this voice right now, and maybe I won't. We'll see.
I just keep imagining that one gremlin from Gremlins 2 who's just got those big rolling eyes.
Oh
Daffy.
God.
Yeah, that one.
Let's see.
Anyone? What you gonna buy?
Flavian kind of looks at the others. Well, some of us didn't waste all our money on questionable community initiatives, so yes, I would be happy to buy that ring of onions.
Go for it.
That's too fast and said it.
Well, here you go.
Flavian, I donated a good chunk of money, and I still got plenty of spending cash.
I think I might have
Might-
forgotten to put on the 1,000 gold that we got, or Zenit that we got from the last stuff that we did. So
I think we split up that so it was like we each got 200.
Isn't it 1,000 apiece?
I think it was 1,000 apiece. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000
I
apiece.
feel like
Okay.
yeah. It was. Otherwise, it's not a very big haul.
and I definitely forgot to put that on there, so I would have had enough to. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No worries.
It's a good character moment.
It's a good character moment. Or it's just like, here you go, bud. You've been doing hard work.
Also,
Now with that ring, I get 6 new HP and 6 new MP.
Nice.
I appreciate this because I have the explorer's belt equipped. If I put this ring into my backpack and put it in a spare accessory, I can just hit swap accessory.
Nice.
Nice.
It's kind of a nice feature. Thank you, whoever made these Roll20 sheets.
All right, and Goldman Chair is buying both the Ring of Embers and the Ring of Frost.
Do you want them, bud?
I'm not gonna make you spend 4,000 on both of them.
Fair enough. Well, let's go talk to the rich heads. Maybe the royals will be kind enough for the information. And Art's doing the air quotes with us.
Wait, is it glow up time?
It's glow up time.
Always glow up time.
I mean, most of you got new jewelry, so
Alright, let's
I
go
do not want to do that.
to the inn.
so as we're leaving, Duck just kind of falls next to Fabian and just goes, so between them and your buddy, are merchants like a type of wizard and you all just like start mutating? Is it merchant rot?
Well, I think actually there's a different word for that, but they're still in the making of really like nailing down the right word they want to use.
I see.
I've heard mercantilism, coinism, capitalism, but I don't think that one will catch on. I mean, capital makes me think of, letters. What would that have to do with money?
Our town.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
Accidentally created another character sheet.
Okay. And with that done, you guys can go ahead and open those big doors. The two Detroit boys lead you inside the fortress of Melonbury. Inside, you find that there is the visitors' quarters, which is where they are currently staying, and they are like, yeah, this is where we and the other soldiers are all currently staying, as Dame Sangren and the others have their meeting with the Marquis. And there, he points, that's a library. It's filled with books. Like, you used to there being like 10 books in a place, it's got way more than that.
Oh, if we get the chance, that'd be kind of nice to take a look at. My wife loved books, don't you know?
And then one place.
Don't
And
you
there,
know?
over there, there's a temple to Cernunnos. He's a Selpictish god of wealth. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's very, very, very
Interesting.
authoritative.
Interesting.
Oh god.
Sounds like my kind of god.
If anyone wants to do an insight check on Cernunnos.
Yeah. Recall.
Ooh.
Nice.
Two critical successes. But
Yeah.
Flavian is a max that you can do.
Okay, for those of you who got oh damn. For those of you who got 10, you know that Cernunnos is a self-pictish god. Like most self-pictish gods, he's associated with nature, and also with the bounty of, in his case, specific case, the bounty of nature. For our 16 and our 2 fucking crits, one of which is also a 16. The worship of gods can be done very differently. And what a god means can be very culturally specific. What domains of theirs are emphasized over others. There are some people who take Athena, for example, as a goddess of wisdom first and foremost, and others who view her as a war goddess first and foremost. And so in Cernunnos' case, it's describing him as a god of wealth first and foremost is interesting because it's diminishing his connection to nature, and showing a very unique and specialized, I suppose, worship of this god, which makes a certain degree of sense. Wealth has been coming into focus more and more as the countries of Midgahheim move away from a purely feudal society and into one that has a thriving merchant class. And so there are some gods who are going to probably be retooled in the common eye to represent this new age of business that's beginning to grow.
They got modernized.
Self-Pictish worship isn't super common in Francane, because the Self-Pictish pantheon are based in Selpict. But it's also not unheard of, because there are a good number of Self-Pictish immigrants over here. So it is interesting, though, that a Self-Pictish god is being given specific worship rather than a more generic worship of domains where people can worship all the various gods that represent that. But maybe it's because there aren't very many gods who specifically represent material wealth. And perhaps people didn't want to build a temple to Hades. For some gods, one of their domains are kind of hard to shake. You can build a temple to Hades and say it's a temple to wealth, but people are going to treat it like a temple to death.
Interesting perspective on this one, but I suppose the bounty of nature really is a certain degree of wealth.
Yeah, I feel it is. We can try and find Dame Sangren for you. We can also show you around the premises. Are we allowed to do that? I mean, yeah, I think so. You can just give them the same tour we got. Yeah.
Which one would you all prefer?
I say let's do the tour and then go find her. Because like I said, there's not it's an important message, but it's not a hey, everything's on fire per se. So
At least there.
All right, cool. Let's show you the library. And they immediately take you to the library, which is somewhat astounding. You may have heard that kings often have very large, well-stocked libraries, and noblemen. And certainly since the invention of the magic printing press about 100 years ago, books have become more common. You know, most families have like a book of their family history at the very least, and some books of local folk tales and the like. Maybe some books about the gods they believe in that they're religious. Um, but an actual well-stocked library is a rarity. Um, this is an entire building devoted to knowledge. And if you would like, you may spend a moment in the library to just research a topic of your choice and get some in-universe context. Basically, a little Q&A to make in character about anything that might tickle your fancy at the moment. And for the sake of facilitating that, I'm going to actually put us on the world map in case there's anything that jogs particular ideas of like, maybe that'd be worth researching.
Tough one.
Duck has one that's not really related to map-wise.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to, perhaps predictably, look up curses, specifically fairy curses. Wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Could be anything.
It's a vast subject. And so, like, it is something that you could spend literally months researching and still be finding very new things that change your understanding of the topic. Because it turns out, since magic came into the world, one of the first things people who've been able to actively control it have decided to do with it is find ways to fuck over people in surprising ways with it. Which is basically what a curse is. Just someone decides, I'm going to fuck you over with magic, buddy. And you're not going to see it coming. Fairy curses, specifically, tend to work by the same sort of twisted, honor code, rules-bound nature of fair folk society in general. Which is to say, they're a game. And while the game is rigged, it's not unbeatable. There is always some sort of clause where you can find a way to break them. To cleverly figure out the loophole that allows you to, end the curse and avoid its more disastrous side effects. Because fairies do not die of natural causes while in fairyland, fairy curses tend to be very long-lived and very protracted. Rather than like a big dramatic, you're going to die in 5 years or whatever, it can be something that stretches out for a lifetime or even generations of a family line. Manifesting in small disasters that can be born, but are tangibly make the life worse and more miserable. And they tend to be and focused more on quantity than sheer punch of a curse. But they're breakable. That is the big thing that you do gleam upon. All fairy curses, like all fairy magic, are games. Rigged games stacked in the house's favor, but games that you can win with guile and persistence.
And in that little section about, breaking a curse, she's going to scribble what she remembers from the Wheel of Fortune card, just like in the margins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that confirmation, and yeah, that's all it tracks. She grumbles. But that's all Duck really had in mind.
I'm just looking at the map, and we're gonna have to pass almost right by it So I'm gonna ask about this over here.
Barbarant. It takes a while, but eventually you do find mention of in a book called Notorious Wizards of Frankane, you find mention of Barbarant the Monster Magician. Um, a wizard of vast power and even vaster madness, whose delusional obsession is in creating chimera. Um, who, according to rumor, which there's actually a piece of parchment that's been pasted into the book that says not rumor, it's fact now. Set up a fortress within the Mastiff Mountains of Amoragal to commit more heinous experiments in combining creatures into monstrous, unnatural hybrid beasts, which he unleashes upon the world for no discernible reason.
He's gonna make a note of that and go, I wonder if that's where our grinning shark-mouthed weirdo this morning was from.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that thing didn't seem natural, even by supernatural standards.
He was polite enough to ask if we were partners, though. That was nice of him.
Arthur, you've been asleep for 50 years. Is there anything you want closure on?
I've been sitting here like Art's probably like in decision paralysis for a little bit, just to be like, do I try to look up anything about my home life that's passed on? Do I look to see how the war actually ended? Do I look to see like who's in charge? He's probably actually going to lean over to Grugan. It's like, Grugan, should I look up something relevant for our adventure, or should I like catch up on things?
He's just gonna look at you and go, I think you deserve answers after being dead for 50 years. If it's something that you want, I'd look up whatever you need to make peace with it.
I'm gonna roll a d4.
Okay.
We're gonna see what happens, what Art picks, because Gray is in decision paralysis. Okay. We're going to look up how the war ended.
All right. So the Third Goblin War broke out into a bit of a scuffle when it left the shores of Bretance and into Frankane. Just because Frankane did not want a bunch of Bretance soldiers tromping about killing their goblins. There were fights between the two nations' armies, or the two countries' various armies, which settled when the nobility of the three Frankish countries, three Frankish kingdoms, made an agreement with the nobility of the Bretonnish kingdoms that were involved in the war, Heratshire and Angelsex. Galfridius notably abstained. One of the many times when they acted more like they're part of Selpic than Bretons in their history. The nobility of both sides agreed to work together to exterminate goblins, and proceeded to sweep through Bretance and Frankane and a good chunk of Germanor, wiping out boogeymen, and taking a good deal of property that was stolen by commoners and peasants. And after they decided they had done enough, they dispersed and returned with their newfound wealth back to their countries. Notably, the war saw participation by George Garson II, who was written about in glowing terms, who joined in the last, literally the last week of the war. Just a real Johnny-come-lately, but oh, he was magnificent on the battlefield for the short time he was there.
Fair enough. Could I keep an eye
it
out for a
does-
name as I browse through?
Yeah, you find mention of a was it an admiral that was your fucking asshole?
Captain Brian Emmons.
That's right. Yeah. You find mention of Admiral, formerly Captain Brian Emmons, who truly showed his mettle throughout the war, especially when Francain and Bretance united, and earned great acclaim and brought great wealth back to his country. And who has lived a prosperous life as a beloved member of the aristocracy and nobility, and has been succeeded in his position by his son.
Fucker. Well, I got the answer. I guess I'm gonna get out of this. Unless if you wish me to delve more, I do have more angles, I guess.
If you want to, it's your library time, man.
It's my library time. With that answered of he got to be old and fat, and I'm gonna kick his ass when I get the opportunity in the afterlife. I think you'd actually probably spend some time on that note, researching into holy undead ? Would be the Google search. Because he didn't get hurt by the church and the holy water, and he's a little confused by that.
It takes you a while. You find many books on ghosts and the undead, which mostly talk about how dangerous they are and against the nature of things. But you do find one very old tome talking about the Tomb of Hallowed Dead in Francain. Or the Crypt of the Hallowed Dead, specifically. The Crypt of the Hallowed Dead was initially a royal crypt for the king of Amoragol at the time. A king who this book refers to only as the King of Lion and Dragon, who was buried in the crypt, and was considered a very virtuous and just king, and unnaturally long-lived. It is believed he was a paragon. And the king swore that in Amoragol's time of need, he and the other valiant dead of the country will rise to defend their kingdom once more. And this tradition has been kept on. And the rest of the book is basically just listing various heroes and warriors of note who served Amoragol faithfully enough and with enough, heroism and prestige to be buried in the crypt, so that if that day comes when the dead should rise, they might be, allowed to join the King of Wolf and Dragon, in the march to save Amoragol from harm. The Crypt of Hallowed Dead is where you were accidentally interred.
Yes. So he's just like, so why? Is it because I made the promise, or is like an ancient promise? Fucking hell. And he just takes out a scrap piece of paper and writes down the name of the King of Lion and Dragons. Then just kind of shoves it in his pocket. It's like, I'm going to look into that more later.
Mm.
See, I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to look up.
Moncher, Flavian.
Flavian will look up a little bit about his alleged grandfather.
Oh, George Garson the First. You'd say look up a little bit, but it's not hard to find a lot. First of all, the library has several complete editions of his multi-volume encyclopedias, essentially, of dragon biology. Initially called Dragon Slayer Handbooks, but depending on the edition, the title eventually changed to just The Study of Dragons. And the later editions get much bigger and more detailed and complex than the earlier editions. Showing the full scope of knowledge on this topic that your grandfather accumulated. There are also a number of biographies that try to relate all of his deeds, mostly focusing on the dragon slaying, although some talk about the part he took in different events, namely the fact that he was there to help resolve the succession crisis that befell Angelsex after the death of its king 100 years ago or so. That he was notably absent from Angelsex during the Dark Lord Morkill affair. Although there are some who theorize that the mysterious Black Knight that is rumored to have been a major player and all that might have been George Garson the First in disguise. These are not credited rumors, and whenever asked about the subject, George Garson was like, I was in Castellan at the time. How the fuck could I help with that crisis if I was, literally across the continent? He wouldn't phrase it like that. He was more of a gentleman. But essentially, that was a matter of it. George Garson was a world traveler. He went to every single country in Midgahheim. There are stories of him in every single country of Midgahheim. He is almost unanimously beloved in everything that talks about him. No one really has, at least no human has bad words to say about George Garson. He was a polite man, a humble man. Nobles and aristocrats sometimes commented on his lack of good manners due to his breeding, because he was a commoner who was raised to the rank of knight. But that's about as negative as it gets. He was, by all accounts, humble, hardworking, and a person who tried to help the people. But these are accounts of a person who died quite a while ago. How accurate they may be is debatable. There are notably very few actual first-hand accounts of people who have met George Garson in these books, beyond those who were like, I met him when he was, 250 and towards the end of his lifespan, and talked to him about things. Very few people who were actually there in the moment, because the prime of George Garson's life predated the invention of the magic printing press, and thus of very adequately recorded history. But that's what you know of your grandfather. Which isn't a whole lot that you didn't already know by reputation, but it's nice to see it confirmed. And there is something impressive of just seeing the sheer amount of writing he did himself. That while George Garson II may seem to be more or less just kind of a jock, George Garson I seemed to have a pensive side that perhaps you might find your own analytical mind might relate to a bit better.
Huh. Well, everything they said about him
Adds up. Real self-made man. But I could pass on the dragon slaying part.
Ooh, Flavian. You card. Won't share anything you'd like to research?
Humans turning into monsters and potentially how long they live for.
You find a book called Baleful Polymorphs, an account of many recorded instances of humans transforming into non-human beings. It discusses the vast variety of tales of these and then tries to find evidence to substantiate what we actually know about this phenomenon. It mentions up front that it's not going to talk specifically about wizards who can turn themselves into creatures, because that's pretty easy to fucking explain. It's a guy with magic who decides he wants to be a dragon for a bit. Whoop-de shit. But more about people who are cursed with transforming for one reason or another. It talks about what is called the witch's lesson, a specific type of transformation spell where a person is turned into a sort of chimeric monstrosity that reflects the inner nature of their soul, and are not able to turn back into a human shape until they have learned some sort of fucking lesson the witch that cast the spell wants them to learn. An oddly common spell. Less complicated versions take a specific animal and turn the person to it, like turning men into pigs or jackasses, crows. Often the choice of animal doesn't necessarily relate to anything specific about the victim, but rather just the perceived flaw that the person who's pissed off at the victim wants to have them turned into. Though there are a number of cases of people who have been cursed by, like, Fae, where the transformation is inflicted as part of a specific puzzle that they have to figure out. You turn into a swan and you're trapped into in a place where you can't get out as a swan, but perhaps there are certain things you can do as a swan that will eventually, lead you to find the way to your freedom that you would not have been able to find as a human. Going with the general fairy approach to magic of it always being some sort of weird fucked up game. And then finally there's a passage that you get to that really makes you stop and take pause. And it talks about the dragon Fenrir, one of the more infamous dragons in all of Germanor. In part because of his immense size, of his voracious appetite, of his enormous hoard of wealth, his status as what is loosely translated from Draconic Germanorian as a philosopher king, which is a sort of esteemed title amongst dragons, supposedly. But the thing that really catches you is that Fafnir was not a dragon originally. Fafnir was a gnome. And according to legend, which is not verifiable because this long predates the printing press, and indeed easily written word in Germanor. This is back when they carved everything on fucking rocks. Fafnir supposedly turned into a dwarf because of his avarice and dragon-like personality qualities. And so I said dwarf. I meant gnome because they're called gnomes in this setting to avoid being confused with things that are just dwarfish in stature. But yeah, Fafnir, his transformation was one of those karmic transformations where, because he acted like dragons are assumed to act, he became a dragon. And it's the person writing about this says that while this is a very hard to verify that's exactly how it works, it makes an interesting idea when knowing about other more well-documented cases of human transformation, because turning into a dragon is phenomenally hard. You know, it's easier to turn into a more mundane animal like a large wolf or a lion or an eagle. Turning into a dragon, you know, one of the most powerful beings in Midgahheim, requires a lot of magical power. And given that so many other polymorph spells seem to rely on some sort of personality attachment to the monstrous form, one has to wonder if the transformation into a dragon requires that personal connection. That to curse someone with dragon shape, they have to have some connection to dragons already. And that's what you glean.
Okay.
All right, and that's your guys' time at the library. The two Detroit boys. Oh, that's fun to say. The Detroit boys, you know, have figured out where Dame Sangren is, and they escort you to the manor of the Marquis.
Deploy the Detroit boys.
Detroit boys deployed, sir.
God damn it.
Excellent. We need more Detroit boys. Stat. Okay. You go to the manor of the Marquis of Mellenbury and are immediately assailed with a palace room with very large and twisting stairways and several portraits of the nobility of the house of Richard, including Marquis Louis Richard. And all of these portraits are idealized, one might say. Exaggerated to a grotesque extreme, one might say, in an opposite direction.
No.
Cod pieces are very prominent in a lot of these. It's a bit gaudy. It's a bit
Like a
you kind of you wish your eyes could be somewhere else.
is it like a is it like a certain doppelganger's place?
Yeah, it might be. This might just be how rich noblemen acted in the time of kings. The two Detroit boys lead you up the stairs. Some sewards, and eventually they like, all right. Seems Dame Sangren is meeting with the Marquis right now, so we're just gonna wait outside their meeting room, and when she comes out, hopefully she's in a good mood, and we can just get you right in there.
Thank you for your help.
No problem. It's what soldiers of Francain do. Is it? I thought we were really here to fight people with swords. Well, yeah, but we're also, we help the common folk, right? Yeah, that counts. And they lead you up the stairs, and eventually you find yourselves outside a large set of doors in a nice little hallway with very comfortable reclining chairs. And as you sit outside the door, you notice that there are a couple of armored knights who are looking at you with slightly awkward, pained expressions as you realize you hear shouting behind the door, muffled by the thick wood, but still very identifiable as angry shouting.
Oh, it sounds like it's going great in there.
She'll be in a great mood.
There's a palpable, uncomfortable silence for a moment. And then the doors burst open, and this short, kind of wiry nobleman in the most elaborate robes you have ever seen, Flavian, your mind immediately boggles at the thought of being able to afford clothes this luxurious. There's so many colors. Out pops the Marquis of Melonbury, shouting, "No! No! No! We are going to accept the invitation, and that is final!" As a tall woman, decked fully in fucking half-plate armor. Oh, she's already there in the art room. Complete with like these sort of spring-loaded like punching daggers attached to her gauntlets, follows after him and is like, "Sir, last time the toll this took on the commoners was negligible and unimportant. What matters is the wealth that the nobility accrued and the greater relations we fostered with our cousin kingdom across the division. We are not going to refuse the son of Sir Jordan when he desires to visit and get us on this endeavor." Another knight emerges from the room, bedecked in slightly, fancier, more gilded armor than Dame Sangren's. Says, "Sangren does have a point, though. In the previous war, there was a great deal of unrest with the peasants. They did not enjoy our attempts to quell the Goblin Uprising. It was a slaughter of citizens of Amoragol. The frog people are not citizens of Amoragol. They're a pest that we occasionally have to deal with. And the peasantry, what do they know? What power do they really hold? They're the people who make us food in the winter. I don't get where this resistance is coming from. Your father was in full support of the Third Goblin War." "Yes, well, my father has passed. And I am inheriting his title. And he and I do not see eye to eye in a lot of things, and this is one of the things I do not see eye to eye with him on. Gods rest his soul."
I think it's going to be this point. Art leans over to Grugan and is like, "So is this very interject with the whole thing about one of the cities already being burned to the ground, or do we wait?"
I forgot the name of it. Whoops.
What was the name of the town? It was one of the wines. Merlot?
Yeah. Cabernet, for sure, was burned to the ground. Bourgeois was completely overtaken. Alsace's fine so far. Champagne has a slight incursion of troops, but they haven't taken over yet. And Skullcrack's been burned to the ground, but that's a orc village, and who cares about the boar people, really? So yeah, Cabernet. Cabernet's the one that would hit.
Yes.
Be polite when you interject.
I might be a bit rusty, but I'm not rude. Excuse me, your highnesses.
And immediately you get like a withering glance from this marquis, while the two knights look at you with they're not angry, but they are surprised to be interrupted given their station.
We switched to our noble clothing, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But Art still screams old soldier. It's just ingrained into everyone he does. I do hate to interrupt, but that is actually why we are here. We've come to report that you just said the town name. What town was it?
Cabernet. Champagne's still fine.
Cabernet.
Cabernet has been burned to the ground by the invading forces from Bretons. Sorry, I am having a mind blank. Apologies.
It's fine. It's you're dead. You're allowed.
Come on. It's in character. Cabernet has been burned to the ground. What's the town beneath it? Not Champagne.
Would you like to go to the main map?
The town map? Yeah, just for
just the town map. I don't have a reference.
Go to the main map. We can go to the main map. That's fine.
Yes. Bergeau has been fully occupied by Breton's forces, and they were being unrestful in Champagan. Some of the folks there asked if we could come and find the dame to hurry back. And he gives one of those like weird wiry smiles that a country person will give when he's very kind of, ooh, I don't want to be here.
I certainly hope you don't mind not hearing from Cabernet anymore, because they just wiped it off the map. It's burned to a cinder. Ashes, really, now. It's been a bit.
About 4 days, yes.
Dame Sangren blanches. Sir Dunbar gets a very grave look. And
They killed the
Marquis,
humans alongside. They lined the bodies of the humans up, right alongside the goblins and everything. So it didn't really matter who they were trampling underfoot. So
Yeah.
and
Stabbed 'em
the
and just
the
left 'em on
Marquis
spikes.
looks at you all with a sort of blind panic of a person who really is not built to deal with actual problems. Before wheeling on Dame Sangren's like, what is this? Who are these people? What did you bring in? Did you bring in these strangers to prove your point?
no, we've never met her before.
I've never met these people before. Oh, okay. Sir, if Marquis, if what they tell us is true, it is essentially an act of war.
They are currently waiting for you to return because I believe they want to turn your town into a beachhead to launch a further invasion of the rest of Frankane and eventually Lutetia, sailing down the river.
Dame Sangren frowns, and just has this sort of stern bulldog expression. She's like, "Because my father let them do that. Let them do that years ago in the Third Goblin War."
Yeah, they're refraining from tearing down your town because they're waiting for your permission to do it to everywhere else. Probably this place right after they secure their foothold there.
All the more to support my point. We should get on their good side now, prevent outright war and bloodshed, and make sure that Mellenbury makes out good from this war.
Doc looks to Art. It's like Marcus here is purposely misinterpreting what we're trying to say. Marcus, my boy, you aren't getting what we're saying.
Marcus, I am the Marquis of Mellenbury, Louis Richard.
Yes, we've seen your portraits. You think you have big pants. We are here as
I'm going to pick
dire
Duck up
warden.
I'm gonna put my hand on your shoulder.
When you say you have big pants, you see that Sir Dunbar, the older knight trying to advise the Marquis, tries to stifle a giggle and fails. He goes,
That's what I was going for.
while Dame Sangren smirks.
Apologies for my friend. We just arrived in town to pass on the information.
Right, well, you can go back to town. I did not request you, and... Sir, they claimed they were calling upon me to fulfill my station. And since I have been stuck here, negotiating with you, trying to get you to see reason, they have no choice but to come here to talk to me. Well, I can't very well turn you out. But my decision is final. We are accepting George Garson's proposition. I have already sent a herald. You what? Yes, of course. He's the son of the greatest dragon slayer, quite possibly going to become the next greatest dragon slayer, perhaps overcoming his father's own legacy. What a marvel that is. Of course I am inviting him here.
What is that, Shady?
No, Moncher is just muttering under his breath, unlikely.
And
Ruben's going to kind of bow a little bit to the Marquis. He's like, I do apologize, sir, for our rude interruption of your conversation. I understand that it was important, but we were tasked to come and speak to the lady, the dame. And we had to do as our station told us.
I do thank you for your service, although I think some in your company should have been taught on the proper manners when addressing a Marquis of a Morrigal.
I know how to treat you, Marcus.
We're going to get kicked out of this town.
And Dame Sangren has that expression of an authority figure who knows that they should chastise an underling, but also is kind of amused at their audacity.
Grugan does not want to do this, but he also does not want any of you to go into the dungeon tonight.
No,
Oh,
He's gonna squeeze Duck's shoulder just a little bit and go, if you're in the dungeon tonight, you can't rob that fucking store.
Well, when you squeeze her shoulder. No, she's not a rubber duck. It's like, oh, fine.
Not yet.
I didn't consent.
He's noticeably not
Something about
telling you to
curses, they don't really-
apologize, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, Duck's not. Even if someone tells her to, she's not going to. But she's just like, all right, fine. She was just getting really frustrated with this guy.
Understandable.
The Marquis nods like, if you excuse me, I am done with this meeting. If you would like to discuss how we can convince George Gossam II to take it easy on the peasantry, we can propose some things tomorrow, but for now, I am quite famished and shall retire for a luncheon. You are not invited today. And he gives Dame Sangren a curt smile before trotting off, at which point Dame Sangren very carefully pushes back the punching dagger of her glove so she can punch the wall without gouging a hole in it.
So the guy is left, right?
Yep.
Man, that Marquis is an ass.
Sir Dunbar can't help but chuckle. He's like, they're all yours, madam. Before he also walks off.
Those robes, though, like, wow.
Dame Sangren looks at all of you and then looks at the Detroit brothers. Right, Lloyd. Where did you find these people?
Lloyd
in the market, ma'am.
Sorry.
Right in Lloyd, Detroit.
God.
We found them in the market, ma'am. They had leathers from our father, Dad. And they both take a moment where they think about their father. And they also had this message for you, and we thought it was important to get them to you right away. I do love your enthusiasm. It's true what you're all saying, that the army is garrisoned in Champagan?
Yes, we saw all of it happen.
Yeah, we traveled all the way up from past Bourgeois.
I was worried that might be the case, and that's why I went here. I was going to try and see if I could get more soldiers for the towers, but it seems that is already too late.
Yes,
think
the
it's-
West.
Sorry.
The West is basically under their control at this point.
Yeah, it's really only the forest that's really keeping them from just marching across it.
She utters a few more curses and kicks the wall. Shit!
We are sorry to bring this news. We don't like it either. I liked it just about as much as kissing that man's ass.
I do have to say that was some really good work on snubbing him. And this is looking at Duck. fantastic.
Oh, you should see how flustered I got some of the ones back at the courts. I'm so surprised I didn't get, kicked out sooner.
She stops and she looks you all over and is like, "Who are all of you? You have
Oh, fuck.
noble's clothes, but I don't recall seeing any of your faces at court before."
Duck's just like, well, apparently the curse extends to my big mouth. She doesn't say that out loud, but she's thinking it.
Apologies, ma'am. Art Baker. Pleasure to meet you.
Uh-huh. She shakes your hand.
And Duck. Just Duck. And oh, sorry. What else was drinking?
I'm
Munching. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Muncher. He nods.
She has a moment of recognition. She's like, I could have sworn I knew a mercenary knight by that name. Dragon Slayer, I think.
Very weird. Get this dragons just have an odd sense of irony.
Your disguise as a human.
Or did you guys take off the glamours?
Oh no.
No,
No,
not yet.
Not.
Is that would
absolutely
give
not.
this scene a very different tenor.
Oh! Fuck! I'm tired. Rewind.
It's fine. I figured.
God, I was in glamour.
It
God,
would be
it's like
really
when you
funny if you said that while you're a human, because the complete fucking non sequitur of it.
Probably would have
She'd
just
just be like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Oh, man, having a human glamour must be weird for Monsieur.
Yeah. Especially because it probably doesn't actually look like he used to.
Oh yeah. It's so wound up in cloth that no one can tell what it looks like. He ain't comfortable with it. It's a oddly common name from my neck of the woods. JD saved it. Alright.
I am Flavian Pascal.
That name's also familiar to me. Where have I met a Pascal? Any relation to Marion Pascal?
Oh, yes, she would be my mother, actually.
A merchant, isn't she?
Yes. Yes, we are merchants.
I was sad to hear her store went under a few years back, but she seems to be making a go of it again, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be here, I suppose. Luck hadn't turned around.
Is she still in Lutetia?
Yes. I'm exploring market opportunities elsewhere, which is what brought me to various places across the river where I saw firsthand what Bretance is doing.
That makes sense. Merchants are often good at word of mouth. But, I thank you all for your news, and suddenly there is a sound of a horrific explosion outside the castle walls. Lloyd and Wright immediately snap to attention, as does Dame Sangren, who flips out her punching daggers and immediately marches down, the stairway, out the hall and, towards the walls to see what the fuck just happened. Do you follow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. You end up joining not only Dame Sangren and the two Troy boys, but also Sir Dunbar and several soldiers and knights of Melonbury as you leave the walls of the castle and see that there has been some sort of massive eruption of flame in an unoccupied space near the castle walls and between the marketplace. As the smoke clears and the slightly magenta-hued flames clear, and they're roughly about here, you see standing on the charred ground two knights, one in armor that is dark blue with a sort of gold or bronze trim, and another in a far more simple set of iron armor. The one wearing iron armor lacks a helm. And you can see a very familiar female face with recently cut short tresses of slightly purplish red hair. The knight in blue and bronze lifts up a hand and says, "People, wait. People of Amorigal, I present to you." Wait, fuck, is this the Russian accent? Come on, William, do it right. Nuclear vessels. I present to you the night wreathed in flame. And Johanna Dupree steps forward to address a growing throng of civilians in Melonbury.
Yes.
Oh, thank.
Go ahead. Citizens of Melonbury, my name is Johanna Dupree. I come from the town of Bourgeau. My family lived in the town of Cabernet, which has been razed to the ground. And at that, you hear some very shocked gasps.
And Duck will kind of shout out, "It's true, we were there."
And now there's a titter of people, immediately reacting to the rumors. An army of Breton soldiers from Anglesex and Heratshire has assailed our southwestern coast. They have taken over the town of Bourgeau. They have garrisoned some of their soldiers in Champagan. And I have, on their own word, and she pulls out a piece of parchment, which you can see from a distance is a letter carrying marching orders, that they are heading to Melonbury next. If we do not stop them here and drive them back, they will attempt to overrun our entire kingdom and perhaps the entire country of Francaine. I am not knighted. I am not a member of the nobility. This armor I wear, I took from the soldiers who were pursuing me. But I fall into that tradition of black knights. My sword is sworn to the people, my fealty to the citizens of Francaine. I am Johanna of Francaine. And we must unite together to stop this scourge. And the knight in the dark blue armor says, "So what will you do, people of Francaine? Will you sit down and die like dogs? Or will you fight?" And immediately, everyone just erupts into a frenzy of debating and arguing about what they should do. And many of the soldiers, both those under Dame Sangren and those under the Marquis, are beginning to look to each other, clearly forming their own ideas on what the best response to this is. And you guys are here amidst the chaos, recognizing two faces. For in addition to Johanna Dupree, that knight in armor looks oddly familiar.
Yeah. Duck kind of pulls out the book just slightly out of her sleeve. Is like, "Is that who I think it is?" Kind of aims it at him.
That is the great Andromalius.
Okay,
He has
thanks.
returned
Shoves it. Shoves it away. She doesn't want to be holding a talking book in the middle of a frenzied crowd. That might stir up some anxieties.
Yeah, fair.
She'll try to make it up to it later.
Eventually, Dame Sangren pushes her way through the crowd, with Sir Dunbar following behind her.
Can we trail after?
Yeah, absolutely. You were with her on the way out. You're close by.
Yeah.
As Dame Sangren fights her way to the front, she's like, "Her name I got. What's your name, stranger?" And the knight in blue armor says, I am Andre. I am from Roslovak.
We've met him before. We can vouch for him.
Yes, it is true. We have met before. I encountered Miss Johanna as she was running from these Breton's pig dogs, and helped her. Not that she needed much of it. Fend them off, and then got her here, using some simple spells that I am aware of. Useful things. I am no wizard, but I get by. And do you have no family name? Oh, yes, of course. Andre Melios. He's a devil. He can't. He's forced to make there be a tell.
there's just a slightly flabbergasted art in the background, like. Smack.
Andre notices and like gives you one of those wiggly finger highs. You know, where a person not only waves high, but they wiggle the fingers to make it extra sassy.
He's just gonna have like a hand face in his hands and just waves back.
Flavian whispers to Art, "You know this is your doing, right?"
Good.
No, isn't it great? Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're absolutely right, Doug. It is our doing, which means more of these people here will live, which means you get more business, Flavian.
Don't think you can keep throwing around all this money talk to manipulate me, Art.
We literally can't know.
Amazing.
It's just like, but we can.
So far, hasn't it?
Anyway, that was quite an entrance you two made. What was with the fire show?
Well, part of that was my doing, but Lady Johanna, I'm not a. I mean, I'm a lady, but I'm not a formalized. I'm sort of blessed by fire. She is modest. She is a paragon. She has attuned to magic.
That
In her
would
case, incendiary.
Yeah, that tracks. It seems to run in the family. Oh, yes, that's right. I can't remember. We had our glamours when we first met Johanna, right? So she knows who we are.
She's seen you in your glamours because you had them on at the
Okay.
very least to help to sneak into the the place where you all killed a bunch of soldiers in their sleep. Fucking love this campaign.
Yeah, and Duck's just like, oh, right. We gotta tell you, we found Margot. She's fine. She's safe.
And immediately, like, tears start streaking down Johanna's face. She tries to be tough, but like she is verklempt. She is overcome with emotion, and like she sort of pushes past Andromalius and hugs you for giving her that news, and begins doing sort of those stifled, choked sobs where it's like where you're not full out weeping, but like it's
Yeah.
clear you want to.
Duck kind of freezes momentarily before, returning the hug, like patting on the back. There's definitely a size difference, so it's kind of funny. this short little woman's having to comfort this woman in armor.
Andre, or Andromalius, who has been putting on a very genial, affable persona, immediately gets somber and says, I did inform her of what became of her hometown. She had not managed to make it back. The knights have been driving her for quite a while.
I'm glad you found her. And he's gonna turn to the dame and go, see, this is the result.
And Dame Sangren turns to Sir Dunbar.
2 people from an entire town. 1 a paragon, and 1 a paragon child.
Dame Sangren turns to Dunbar and says, you have to convince the Marquis to change his mind. You have to. It's not in my hands. I am a knight in his service. I do not have the authority to give him commands. I do, however, have authority to command my retinue as I see fit. And if we want to hold Melonbree, we can do so, even if it means contradicting the orders of the Marquis.
Yes, as Duck chimes in. I have no loyalty to the Marquis, so you can't really get upset.
I got the sense. I got the sense of that.
Yes. I'm just clarifying.
I think people in the next county got the sense.
He's already sent a runner to the Bretonch army telling them he is on board with them, taking over the town with him as long as he's unharmed. But he's already sold out the people here.
That news breaks Johanna out of her tears as immediately a fiery, fury awakens in her eyes. He did what?
I very nearly shouted it out to the crowd, but I didn't want to be tossed into an oubliette. I mean, if you want to, it's all yours.
It would mean more coming.
And she doesn't wait for a second, but she shouts out, "Your own Marquis has sold you out! Even now he invites these butchers to our land. What will you do, people of Francaine? Will you welcome them with open arms?" And immediately the crowd turns to her side. Whatever division there was falls.
And again, Duck will kind of back her up and going, "We were there in the manor itself. We heard it from his own words. He didn't even inform the dame here that he had done it. He was so cowardly."
Dame Sangren steps forward. "People of Melonbree, if you stand against this terror, know that my forces will stand with you. I do not have many soldiers in my employ, but their arms are yours." And Sir Dunbar steps up. "As will I. I cannot speak for all the forces of the Marquis, but all the forces under my command. They will stand with you. We shall defend this town." And suddenly several of the soldiers who are wearing specifically the badge of the Marquis step in line behind Sir Dunbar, as if following his orders, and you feel a distinct shift in the tone of things. As suddenly this small, quiet little town is getting ready to take a very violent stand. And I know it's a bit early, but we are close to our Cinderella hour, so that is where we will end tonight's session of Currents of War.
Can I say something before we stop?
Absolutely.
Well, I hope he's enjoying his fucking dinner.